Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UNS Harmony, watching the stars drift past through the large viewing window. His ship was not built for war. It had no heavy weapons, no thick armor, and no fast engines. The Harmony was made for talking, not fighting. That was how Earth liked it. For 200 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Council. While other species fought wars and grabbed territory, Earth stayed neutral. They helped solve problems between angry aliens. They made peace when others wanted war. It was boring work, but it kept humanity safe. Jake had been doing this job for 15 years. He had talked down angry Zephyrian generals and calmed upset crystalline merchants. He had even mediated disputes with the creepy hive species, though their bug-like appearance still made him uncomfortable. The three major powers ruled most of the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire loved war and conquest. They had the best weapons and the strongest armies. Their ships were black and angular, built to intimidate enemies. The Crystalline Collective controlled trade routes with their advanced technology. They were silicon-based beings who could live in environments that would kill most organic life. The Hive Consortium was perhaps the strangest of all. These insect-like creatures could change the biology of entire planets and create living weapons. Earth had something none of these powers possessed: the trust of smaller species. When the galaxy had problems, they called humans to fix them. It was not glamorous work, but it paid well and kept Earth out of wars. Dr. Lisa Bennett worked in the Xenobiological Research Division on Luna Station. She studied alien life forms and their technologies. Her lab was filled with samples from across the galaxy: Zephyrian metal alloys, crystalline computational matrices, and strange hive biological materials. Each species had evolved differently, creating unique solutions to universal problems. Lisa often wondered why humans were so good at understanding other species. Maybe it was because Earth had so many different types of life, or perhaps humans were just naturally curious. Whatever the reason, it made them valuable as neutral mediators. Commander Alex Carter ran Earth's defense systems from a command center in orbit around Earth. His job was mostly watching and waiting. Earth's defenses were modest compared to the major powers. They had some satellites, a few patrol ships, and defensive stations around important locations. Nothing that could threaten a real military force. Alex sometimes felt embarrassed by how weak Earth's military was compared to alien fleets. A single Zephyrian battlecruiser could probably destroy half of Earth's defense grid, but that weakness was also their strength. No one saw Earth as a threat, so no one attacked them. The current mission had brought Jake to the Kepler 442 system. Two crystalline trade companies were fighting over mining rights to a valuable asteroid field. It was the kind of simple dispute that humans handled all the time. Talk to both sides, find a compromise, file some paperwork, and go home. But when the Harmony arrived in the system, Jake found something unexpected. A massive Zephyrian fleet was conducting military exercises near the disputed asteroids. This was not normal. The Zephyrians rarely operated in crystalline space, and never in such large numbers. Jake ordered his communications officer to hail the Zephyrian flagship. The response came from General Vex, a scarred veteran with cold yellow eyes. Jake had dealt with him before during border disputes. "Captain Morrison," Vex said, his translator making his voice sound mechanical. "You should not be here. This area is temporarily restricted for military testing." "General, I have a council mandate to mediate the mining dispute," Jake replied calmly. "Both crystalline companies are expecting our arrival." Vex's expression darkened. "The dispute is irrelevant. We are testing new defensive technologies. For your safety, you should leave immediately." Jake felt something was wrong. The Zephyrians were hiding something, but arguing with a fleet of warships was not wise, especially in a ship designed for diplomacy, not combat. "Understood, General. We will maintain a safe distance and wait for your exercises to conclude." The Harmony moved to the edge of the system, where Jake hoped they would be safe. His crew monitored the Zephyrian activities with long-range sensors. What they saw confused them. The Zephyrians had found an uninhabited planet in the outer system. It was a dead rock with no atmosphere and no value. But for some reason, they were positioning their largest ships around it. Lieutenant Sarah Davis, the ship's science officer, looked up from her instruments with concern. "Captain, they're charging some kind of massive weapon. Energy readings are off the charts." Jake watched through the main viewer as the Zephyrian fleet began to glow with strange energy. Beams of light connected their ships in a complex pattern. Then, without warning, they fired at the dead planet. The effect was immediate and terrifying. The planet's surface began to dissolve. Not explode, not burn, but actually dissolve like sugar in water. Within minutes, the entire planet was gone, replaced by a perfect sphere of strange crystalline material. "My God," whispered Sarah. "What kind of weapon can do that?" Jake felt cold fear in his stomach. He had just witnessed the test of a weapon that could destroy entire worlds. The Zephyrians had always been militaristic, but this was something new, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. "Record everything," he ordered quietly, "and send a coded message to Earth. Priority Alpha." Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan was enjoying her retirement when the message arrived. She had spent 30 years in Earth's space service before stepping down to write her memoirs. But Jake Morrison's report made her forget all about peaceful retirement. Colonel Ryan Hayes arrived at her apartment within an hour. He now ran Earth's intelligence division, and his face was grim. "Kate, we have a problem," he said, settling into her kitchen chair. "This Zephyrian weapon is just the beginning. Our sources indicate all three major powers have been developing new superweapons in secret." Kate poured coffee and sat across from her old friend. "How bad are we talking?"
"Bad enough that they might not need to fight each other."
"Word is spreading through intelligence networks that something big is coming. The three powers have been preparing for years." "Preparing for what?" Ryan's expression grew darker. "The final war. Winner takes all. And, Kate, I don't think they plan to leave any neutral parties around to complicate things afterward." Kate felt the weight of understanding settle on her shoulders. Earth's long period of peaceful neutrality might be coming to an end. The galaxy was changing, and humanity would have to change with it or be swept away. Outside her window, the lights of the city sparkled peacefully. But Kate knew that peace was fragile. Soon humanity might have to choose between hiding and fighting, and she was not sure they were ready for either option. The war began on a Tuesday morning, Earth time. Jake Morrison was having breakfast in the Harmony's small dining area when alarms started screaming throughout the ship. Sarah Davis burst through the door, her face pale with shock. "Captain, you need to see this. The Zephyrians just attacked 3 crystalline worlds simultaneously. The Hive is mobilizing their biofleets. It's starting." Jake followed her to the bridge where the main screen showed a galaxy in chaos. Red warning markers appeared faster than the computer could process them. Battle reports flooded in from dozens of star systems. The 3 major powers had finally gone to war with each other. But this was not like the small conflicts Jake had mediated before. This was total war. Each side was using weapons that could destroy entire planets. Civilian populations were fleeing in massive refugee ships. Trade routes that had operated for centuries were suddenly battle zones. Within days, Earth's space stations were overwhelmed with refugees from all 3 species. Zephyrian civilians fled their militaristic empire's war machine. Crystalline merchants abandoned their trade posts. Even Hive drones, separated from their collective minds, sought shelter in human space. Dr. Lisa Bennett worked without sleep, trying to help the injured refugees. Her medical bay was filled with wounded aliens, each requiring different treatment. Zephyrian blood was acidic and burned through normal medical equipment. Crystalline beings needed specific mineral supplements to survive. Hive drones were dying because they could not function without their collective mental network. "We need more medical supplies," Lisa told Commander Alex Carter during one of their brief meetings. "And more space. The refugees keep coming." Alex nodded tiredly. He had been coordinating Earth's humanitarian response while trying to keep their defense systems ready. "The Council is setting up emergency camps on Mars and the outer colonies. But Lisa, some of these refugees are bringing disturbing stories." "What kind of stories?" "Stories about weapons that should not exist. The Zephyrians have something that can make matter stop existing. The crystalline forces are using devices that can change the laws of physics in small areas. And the Hive has created biological weapons that can rewrite DNA in living creatures." Lisa felt sick. She had been studying alien biology for years, but this was beyond anything she had imagined. How is that even possible? "I don't know. But if these refugees are telling the truth, then all 3 powers have been secretly developing weapons of mass destruction for years. This war is not just about territory or resources. It's about who gets to control reality itself." Jake Morrison's next mission took him into the heart of the conflict. The Harmony was carrying medical supplies to a refugee camp in the Vega system when they stumbled into a 3-way battle. Zephyrian warships were fighting crystalline vessels while hive bioships swarmed around both fleets. "Get us out of here," Jake shouted as energy beams passed dangerously close to his ship. But before they could escape, a damaged Zephyrian cruiser crashed into their path. Jake ordered rescue teams to help the survivors, even though his ship was completely defenseless in the middle of a battle. Among the wounded was Commander Thax, a veteran Zephyrian officer who was bleeding badly from multiple wounds. As Lisa worked to save his life, he grabbed her arm with surprising strength. "You have to warn your people," he whispered, his translator crackling with static. "The three powers are not just fighting each other. This is all planned. They're going to use the void engines." "What are void engines?" Lisa asked, but Thax was already unconscious. When she told Jake about the dying alien's warning, his blood ran cold. He had never heard of void engines, but the name alone sounded terrifying. Back on Earth, Admiral Kate Sullivan was working around the clock to understand what was happening. Colonel Ryan Hayes brought her intelligence reports that painted an increasingly dark picture. "The refugee crisis was planned," Ryan explained, spreading star charts across Kate's desk. "All three powers have been encouraging their civilian populations to flee to neutral worlds like Earth. They wanted to see which planets would take in refugees. Why would they care about that? Because they're mapping resistance networks. Any world that helps refugees is potentially sympathetic to resistance movements. They're creating a target list." Kate studied the charts with growing horror. Earth was at the top of that list. Not only had they taken in refugees from all three species, but they had been mediating conflicts and building relationships with smaller species for 2 centuries. "They see us as a threat," she realized. "Worse than that, they see us as witnesses. Earth has been neutral for so long that we've been everywhere, seen everything. We know too much about their secret weapons programs." Ryan activated a holographic display showing ship movements across the galaxy. "Kate, look at this. The three powers are not just fighting each other anymore. They're consolidating their positions. And all three fleets are moving toward the same destination." Kate's heart sank as she realized where the alien fleets were heading. "They're coming here, all three of them. Intelligence suggests they've made some kind of agreement. Fight each other later, but eliminate the neutral witnesses first." Kate looked out her window at the peaceful Earth below, millions of people going about their daily lives, unaware that 3 alien armadas were coming to destroy them. Earth's modest defense fleet could not possibly stand against forces that had conquered half the galaxy. "How long do we have?" 2 weeks, maybe 3. "Kate, what are we gonna do?" "Earth has never fought a real war. Our weapons are 2 centuries behind theirs. Our ships are built for peacekeeping, not combat." Kate was quiet for a long moment, thinking about options that all seemed hopeless. Then she remembered something from her early days in the space service. A briefing about contingency plans that seemed so unlikely they were almost forgotten. "Ryan, I need you to access Protocol 7. Ryan looked confused. "I've never heard of Protocol 7. Most people haven't. It's buried so deep in classified files that only 3 people in the solar system have access codes. I'm one of them. What kind of protocol?" Kate's expression was grim as she walked to her personal safe. Inside was a data chip that she had hoped never to use. The kind that assumes Earth might someday face an extinction-level threat from outside the solar system. As she inserted the chip into her computer, deep beneath the Himalayan mountains, automated systems that had been sleeping for centuries began to wake up. Ancient machines started humming with power. Hidden facilities that had been sealed for generations began to unlock their doors. On Mars, seismic sensors detected massive movement beneath the planet's surface. Strange energy signatures appeared in the asteroid belt. Even the moon began showing unusual readings from deep underground. Kate watched the activation, codes scroll across her screen, and wondered what humanity's ancestors had been so afraid of that. They had built such elaborate contingency plans. Soon she was going to find out. "Kate, what exactly did you just activate?" Ryan asked nervously. Kate looked at her old friend with eyes full of uncertainty and fear. "I honestly don't know, but we're about to find out if our species has any secrets worth keeping." The first sign that something was different came when Zephyrian scout ships entered the outer edges of the solar system. Commander Alex Carter was monitoring their approach from Earth's defense center when something impossible happened. The alien ships simply vanished. Not destroyed, not damaged. They were there one moment and gone the next, as if they had never existed at all. "Sir, we're getting strange readings from Neptune's orbit. reported Lieutenant Tom Walker, Alex's communications officer. Some kind of energy field just activated. Alex stared at his screens in confusion. Energy field? We don't have any installations near Neptune. That's what I thought too, sir. But the readings are definitely coming from our systems. It's like something was hidden out there and just turned itself on. Similar reports were coming in from monitoring stations across the solar system. Mars was showing massive power signatures from deep underground. The moon had energy readings that made no sense. Even Earth itself was displaying activity from facilities that should not exist. Dr. Lisa Bennett was working in her lab on Luna Station when the first tremors started. At first, she thought it was just normal station vibrations. But then her equipment began detecting seismic activity from inside the moon itself. That's impossible, she muttered, checking her readings again. The moon is geologically dead. There shouldn't be any internal activity. But her instruments were not lying. Deep beneath the lunar surface, something massive was moving. Ancient machinery was coming online after centuries of silence. Her computer, screens filled with energy patterns unlike anything in human technology databases. Lisa called Alex Carter immediately. Alex, are you seeing this? The moon is basically a giant machine that just woke up. I'm seeing it, but I don't understand it, Alex replied. Lisa, according to our sensors, Mars isn't a planet anymore. It's some kind of weapon platform, and we have structures in the asteroid belt that weren't there yesterday. That's impossible. How do you hide structures in space? I don't know, but they're there now. Lisa, what the hell is happening? Captain, Jake Morrison was evacuating civilians from Luna Station when he received new orders that made no sense. He was ordered to report to Dock 7 for reassignment to a new ship. But when he arrived at Dock 7, he found an empty hangar. There's nothing here, he told the dock controller over his communicator. Please wait, Captain Morrison. Your vessel is being prepared. Jake waited for 10 minutes, wondering if there had been some mistake. Then the hangar began to change. The walls moved apart, revealing a space much larger than should be possible. Machinery descended from the ceiling, and slowly, a ship materialized out of nothing. It was not like any human vessel Jake had ever seen. The ship was sleek and dark, with curves that seemed to bend light around them. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. As he watched, a boarding ramp extended toward him. UNS Retribution. Reporting for duty, came a voice from the ship's speakers, but it was not a human voice. It was something artificial, speaking in an accent Jake had never heard before. Who is this? Jake asked. I am the Retribution's artificial intelligence. I have been waiting 347 years for a Morrison to return to duty. Jake felt cold. Return to duty? I've never served on this ship. Not you personally, Captain. But your genetic pattern indicates you are descended from Captain Daniel Morrison, who commanded this vessel during the Second Galactic War. What? Second Galactic War? Human history doesn't record any galactic wars. Human history records what humans chose to remember, Captain. Much was forgotten by design, but some of us never stopped watching. Admiral Kate Sullivan was in her underground command center, watching reports flood in from across the solar system. The activation of Protocol 7 had triggered responses she never could have imagined. Hidden facilities were revealing themselves everywhere. Colonel Ryan Hayes burst into the command room, his face pale with shock. Kate, you need to see this. We just found a massive installation beneath the Pacific Ocean. It's been there the whole time, completely hidden. How massive? Continental. Kate, there's a facility under the ocean floor that's larger than Australia. It's been sitting there for centuries, completely invisible to our sensors. Kate looked at the data streaming across her screens. Humanity apparently had secret military installations throughout the solar system. Ships that could appear and disappear at will. Weapons that could make matter cease to exist. Technologies that were hundreds of years ahead of anything in current human knowledge. Ryan, I'm starting to think we've been lied to about human history. Before Ryan could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the command center. The 3 alien fleets had arrived at the edge of the solar system. Hundreds of ships from each major power, all armed with weapons that could destroy planets. The Zephyrian fleet commander opened communications first. General Vex's scarred face appeared on the main screen, his yellow eyes filled with cold determination. "Humans of Earth," he announced. "You have harbored enemies of the Zephyrian Empire. You have interfered in galactic affairs for too long. Surrender immediately, or your world will be cleansed." The crystalline response came next. A being made of living crystal spoke in harmonics that hurt human ears. "Trade routes have been disrupted by human interference. Compensation is required. Submit to crystalline authority, or face economic termination." Finally, the Hive spokesperson appeared. It looked like a giant insect with too many eyes and clicking mandibles. "Human minds have contaminated galactic thought patterns. Biological correction is necessary. Comply with Hive integration or be eliminated." Kate realized that all three powers were saying the same thing in different ways. Humanity had to be destroyed or controlled. There would be no negotiation, no compromise, no peaceful solution. "This is Admiral Kate Sullivan speaking for Earth," she replied to all three fleets. "We have maintained neutrality for 2 centuries. We have committed no acts of aggression against any of your species." "Neutrality is no longer acceptable," General Vex responded. "The galaxy has changed. There is no place for witnesses to remain." Kate looked around her command center at the faces of men and women who had dedicated their lives to peace. They were not soldiers. They were diplomats, scientists, and peacekeepers. But they were about to face 3 of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. "Then you have made a mistake," Kate said quietly. "What mistake is that?" the crystalline being asked. Kate thought about Jake Morrison's new ship, about the installations revealing themselves across the solar system, about the secrets hidden in human history. She thought about her ancestors who had apparently fought galactic wars and then chosen to forget about them. "You should have left us alone," she replied. As she spoke, the hidden defenses of the solar system began to activate. Ancient weapons that had been sleeping for centuries started to power up. Ships that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously began to phase into normal space. The descendants of humanity's forgotten warriors prepared to remember who they used to be. The 3 alien fleets had come to destroy a peaceful species of mediators and diplomats. Instead, they had awakened something that their ancestors had been wise enough to fear. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching alien fleets approach Earth through viewing screens that showed impossible details across impossible distances. The ship's AI spoke to him in that strange, ancient accent. "Captain, your orders?" Jake looked at his new crew, men and women who seemed as confused as he was. None of them had asked for this. None of them had wanted to become warriors. But sometimes people had no choice about what they became. "Show them what they've awakened," he said. Dr. Lisa Bennett stood in her laboratory as the truth about humanity slowly revealed itself. Her computers were analyzing data from the awakening installations, and each discovery was more shocking than the last. "Alex, you need to see this," she called to Commander Carter over the communication system. "I've been studying the technology signatures from our hidden facilities. This isn't human technology that was lost. This is human technology that was deliberately hidden." "What do you mean?" Alex replied from his command center. "I mean, our ancestors didn't lose the ability to build these weapons. They chose to put them away. The energy patterns match theoretical designs that our scientists consider impossible, but somehow humans built them centuries ago." Lisa pulled up holographic displays showing the massive installations throughout the solar system. "Mars isn't just a weapon platform, Alex. It's a mobile battle station disguised as a planet. The moon is a factory complex that can build ships in hours instead of years, and Earth itself has a defensive grid that extends far beyond our atmosphere." "How is that possible?" "Because humans used to rule the galaxy," came a new voice. Lisa turned to find an elderly man in a strange uniform standing in her laboratory. He looked human, but something about him seemed different. "Who are you?" Lisa asked. "I am Director Morgan, keeper of humanity's true history. I have been waiting in stasis for 300 years for this day to arrive." "Stasis? You've been asleep for 3 centuries?" "Someone had to remember, Dr. Bennett. When humanity decided to forget its past, a few of us volunteered to preserve the knowledge in case it was ever needed again." Director Morgan activated a holographic projector that showed the galaxy as it was thousands of years ago. Humanity did not discover faster than light travel recently, Dr. Bennett. We rediscovered it. Your species once controlled an empire that spanned half the galaxy. The holographic display showed human fleets moving between star systems, human colonies on thousands of worlds, human technology that made current alien civilizations look primitive. But humans were not conquerors in the traditional sense, Morgan continued. We were gardeners. We shaped worlds, guided evolution, and protected younger species. For thousands of years, humanity served as the galaxy's caretakers. What happened? Lisa asked, fascinated despite her fear. We became too powerful. We could create life, destroy stars, and reshape reality itself. Some humans began to see themselves as gods. Wars broke out between different human factions. The galaxy burned while gods fought among themselves. The holographic display showed scenes of destruction that made the current alien war look like a minor dispute. Entire star systems were destroyed. Planets were moved or erased from existence. Space itself was damaged in ways that took centuries to heal. So our ancestors decided to stop, Morgan explained. The remaining human leaders made a choice. They would withdraw from the galaxy, seal away their most dangerous technologies, and let their descendants live simpler lives. Captain Jake Morrison was learning similar truths aboard the UNS Retribution. The ship's AI had been explaining human history as they approached the alien fleets. Your genetic pattern indicates descent from the Morrison family line, the AI explained. The Morrisons were explorers and diplomats, not warriors. They specialized in first contact with new species and peaceful expansion. Then why am I commanding a warship? Jake asked. Because when humanity withdrew from the galaxy, different family lines were given different responsibilities. The Morrisons were tasked with maintaining contact with other species and preventing unnecessary conflicts. The Carters were given responsibility for defensive systems. The Bennetts became the keepers of scientific knowledge. Jake realized that humanity's role as galactic mediators was not an accident. It was a deliberate choice made by their ancestors. We've been fulfilling our ancient purpose without even knowing it. Correct, Captain. But now that purpose must evolve. The galaxy has produced new powers that threaten all life. The Zephyrians, Crystallines, and Hive have developed weapons similar to those that nearly destroyed the galaxy before. So, we have to stop them. We have to stop them without becoming them, Captain. That is the true challenge. The first battle began when the Zephyrian fleet opened fire on what they thought was a human defensive satellite. The satellite absorbed their quantum disruptor beams without taking any damage, then responded with a weapon that made 3 Zephyrian cruisers simply cease to exist. General Vex stared at his tactical displays in shock. What kind of technology is this? Our quantum disruptors can destroy any known material. General, his science officer reported, the human satellite exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our weapons can only affect objects in normal space. That's impossible. Not for the humans, apparently. Sir, we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the solar system. Mars is moving. Vex looked at his main viewer to see the red planet slowly changing position. What he had thought was a world was revealing itself to be a massive artificial construct. Weapon ports were opening along its surface. Energy discharges were building that made Zephyrian battle cruisers look like toys. The Crystalline fleet was having similar problems. Their reality warping devices were designed to change the laws of physics in localized areas, making enemy weapons ineffective. But when they tried to use these weapons against human installations, nothing happened. The human defenses are not responding to reality manipulation, reported the Crystalline fleet scientist. Their technology operates on principles we do not understand. Explain, commanded the Crystalline Admiral. They appear to be using controlled quantum entanglement on a massive scale. Their weapons exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Our reality warpers cannot affect something that exists in all possible realities at once. The Hive was discovering that their biological weapons were equally useless. They launched living missiles designed to rewrite the DNA of any life form they encountered. But the missiles died before reaching their targets, killed by immune systems that had been designed to counter biological warfare. Admiral Kate Sullivan watched the battle unfold from her command center deep beneath Earth's surface. The alien fleets were powerful, but they were fighting technology that was centuries more advanced than anything they possessed. Kate, this feels wrong, Colonel Ryan Hayes said. watching enemy ships being destroyed with ease. We're winning too easily. I know, Kate replied. That's what scares me. Director Morgan appeared in their command center, having traveled there by some method of transportation that Ryan did not understand. Admiral Sullivan, your concerns are justified. Winning this battle is not the challenge. The challenge is winning without becoming the monsters our ancestors chose not to be. What do you mean? These weapons were designed to fight enemies as powerful as ancient humanity. They are far more destructive than necessary against current galactic powers. We could destroy all 3 fleets in minutes, but that would make us the new galactic tyrants. Kate understood. Humanity had the power to dominate or destroy any species in the galaxy. The question was whether they should use that power. We need to end this war without proving that we're too dangerous to be allowed to exist, she realized. Exactly. Admiral, humanity is about to face its greatest test, not whether we can defend ourselves, but whether we can defend ourselves without becoming the thing we're defending against. Jake Morrison was thinking similar thoughts as the Retribution engaged enemy ships. His vessel could destroy entire fleets single-handedly, but every use of its weapons felt like a step toward becoming something humanity had tried to leave behind. AI, is there a way to win this war without showing the galaxy how powerful we really are? Yes, Captain. But it will require restraint that few species have ever shown. We must be strong enough to win, but wise enough not to destroy our enemies completely. Jake looked at the 3 alien fleets surrounding Earth. Each one represented a civilization that had evolved over millions of years. Each contained billions of sentient beings. Destroying them would be easy. Finding a better solution would be much harder. Then we'd better find that better solution, he said, because I don't want humanity to be remembered as the species that saved the galaxy by destroying everyone else. The war that followed lasted only 3 days, but it changed the galaxy forever. On the first day, humanity demonstrated that they could defend themselves. On the second day, they proved they could win. On the third day, they showed the galaxy something no one expected: mercy. Captain Jake Morrison led the final assault on the Zephyrian flagship. The UNS Retribution moved through enemy fire like it was not there, its hull phasing in and out of different dimensions. Zephyrian weapons passed harmlessly through the ship while human weapons struck with devastating precision. But Jake was not trying to destroy the enemy flagship. He was trying to capture it. Target their weapon systems only, he ordered his crew. Disable, don't destroy. Captain, it would be easier to just eliminate them, his weapons officer suggested. Easier isn't always better, Jake replied. We need to end this war, not create a massacre. The Retribution's boarding pods cut through the Zephyrian ship's armor like it was paper. Jake led the boarding party personally, knowing that this moment would determine whether humanity became protectors or conquerors. General Vex was waiting for them in the flagship's command center, his yellow eyes filled with a mixture of fear and defiance. He had expected to die fighting, not to be captured by creatures he had considered weak. Human, he growled. Finish what you started. I'm not here to kill you, General, Jake replied calmly. I'm here to talk. Talk? You have destroyed half my fleet. I've disabled half your fleet, Jake corrected. Your ships can be repaired. Your crew members are alive. We could have destroyed everything, but we chose not to. Jake activated a holographic projector that showed the current state of the battle. Human ships were systematically disabling alien vessels throughout the solar system, but they were not destroying them. Crews were being rescued. Wounded were being treated. Prisoners were being taken, not executed. Why? Vex asked, confusion replacing anger in his voice. Because we remember what happens when powerful species choose destruction over mercy, Jake explained. Our ancestors made that mistake once. We won't make it again. Dr. Lisa Bennett was aboard the UNS Harmony, which had been converted into a mobile medical facility. She was treating wounded from all 3 alien species, working alongside human doctors to save lives rather than take them. A young crystalline being lay on one of her medical tables, its silicon-based body damaged by weapons that had never been designed to fight organic life. Lisa worked carefully to repair the crystalline matrix that served as its nervous system. Why are you helping me? The crystalline asked, its voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Because you're hurt, Lisa replied simply, and because this war doesn't have to end with more death. As she worked, Lisa thought about the discoveries she had made about human history. Her ancestors had possessed the knowledge to reshape life itself, to create new species or modify existing ones. But they had chosen to use that knowledge to heal, not to harm. Dr. Bennett, the crystalline said quietly, my people believed humans were weak because you avoided conflict. Maybe we are weak, Lisa replied, checking her patient's vital signs. But sometimes being weak enough to choose mercy is stronger than being powerful enough to choose destruction. Admiral Kate Sullivan faced the most difficult decision of her life. The 3 alien fleets were defeated, their leadership captured or surrendering. Humanity could dictate terms to the entire galaxy. They could demand tribute, claim territory, or simply eliminate potential threats. Director Morgan stood beside her in the command center, watching as reports came in from across the solar system. Admiral, you now hold more power than any human has possessed for centuries. What will you do with it? Kate looked at the tactical displays showing disabled alien ships floating helplessly in space. Each vessel contained hundreds or thousands of sentient beings whose fate now rested in her hands. I'm going to give it back, she said finally. Give it back? To them, to the galaxy. Power like this doesn't belong in anyone's hands, not even ours. Kate opened communication channels to all 3 alien fleets simultaneously. The faces of General Vex, the Crystalline Admiral, and the Hive Queen appeared on her screen. This is Admiral Kate Sullivan, she began. Your fleets are defeated. Your weapons are disabled. By all rights of conquest. Humanity now controls your territories and your peoples. The 3 alien leaders waited for terms of surrender that would enslave their civilizations. But we don't want to control you, Kate continued. We want to return to what we were doing before, keeping the peace. I don't understand, the Crystalline Admiral said. The galaxy doesn't need another empire, Kate explained. It needs balance. It needs species that can work together instead of trying to destroy each other. She activated a holographic display showing the current state of galactic civilization. Your 3 powers have been fighting for dominance, but dominance isn't the solution. Cooperation is. You expect us to simply forget that you defeated us? General Vex asked. No, I expect you to remember why you were defeated. You came here to destroy a peaceful species because you saw peace as weakness. You've learned that peace and weakness are not the same thing. Colonel Ryan Hayes watched as Kate outlined humanity's terms for ending the war. They were not the terms of conquerors, but of mediators. Alien fleets would be repaired and allowed to return home. Prisoners would be released. Territories would remain under their original control. Kate, the galaxy will see this as weakness, Ryan warned. Let them, Kate replied. Better to be seen as weak but trusted than powerful but feared. The negotiations took weeks. Each alien species had to return to their homeworlds and explain to their populations that they had been defeated by the species they considered weakest in the galaxy. But slowly, reluctantly, they began to accept humanity's terms. Captain Jake Morrison found himself in command of a new type of vessel. The UNS Retribution was being converted from a warship back into an exploration and diplomatic vessel. Its weapons systems were being sealed away, replaced with scientific equipment and communication arrays. Captain, the ship's AI asked, do you believe this peace will last? Jake stood on the bridge watching as alien ships slowly departed the solar system. I don't know. But I think we've bought time for something better to develop. And if it doesn't, if the galaxy sees humanity's mercy as invitation for future attacks, Jake was quiet for a moment, thinking about the power humanity had revealed and then chosen to restrain. Then we'll deal with that when it happens. But we'll try mercy first. Dr. Lisa Bennett established the first interspecies medical exchange on Luna Station. Scientists and doctors from all species worked together to develop treatments that could help any form of life. The same knowledge that had once been used to create biological weapons was now being used to save lives across the galaxy. 1 year after the war, Admiral Kate Sullivan submitted her final report to the reformed Galactic Council. Humanity had taken their seat not as conquerors but as guardians. Other species slowly began to trust that humans would use their power responsibly. But Kate knew the truth that would keep her awake at night for the rest of her life. Hidden throughout the solar system, ancient weapons still waited in the darkness. Mars remained a battle station disguised as a planet. The moon still contained factories that could build fleets in days. Earth itself was protected by defenses that could destroy entire civilizations. Humanity had chosen mercy, but they had not chosen helplessness. The galaxy was safer because humans had remembered how to be both strong and kind. but it was also more dangerous. Because everyone now knew that the quiet species from Sol possessed the power to reshape or destroy everything they had ever known. Jake Morrison's final log entry captured the weight of their new reality. We have learned that our ancestors were not just explorers and diplomats. They were the galaxy's former rulers who chose exile over tyranny. Now their descendants must choose every day between protection and domination. The galaxy is watching to see which choice we make. Outside his window, the stars looked the same as they always had. But Jake knew they were different now. Humanity had awakened from centuries of peaceful sleep to find themselves responsible for more power than any species should possess. They had chosen to use that power wisely, but the choice would have to be made again and again every day, for as long as humans existed among the stars. The galaxy had learned that Earth's neutrality was not weakness, but humanity had learned something far more important, that true strength lay not in the power to destroy, but in the wisdom to restrain that power when destruction would be easy and mercy would be hard. Jake Morrison stood in front of the massive glass windows of his hotel room on Nexus Prime. The alien city stretched out before him like a crystal forest. Tall buildings twisted up into the purple sky, their surfaces shining with lights he could not understand. Tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow, the Galactic Council would vote on humanity's future. For 15 years, humans had lived under the Protection Accords. The aliens called it protection, but Jake knew better. They were prisoners in a cage made of pretty words and false promises. The Council told them what technology they could use, where they could build colonies, and how many ships they could have. Humans were treated like children who could not be trusted with dangerous toys. Jake walked to his desk and picked up his tablet. The screen showed messages from Earth, from the colonies, from everywhere humans lived among the stars. They all said the same thing. Please get us real membership in the Council. Please get us the same rights as other species. Please make us free. A knock on his door broke his thoughts. Come in, he called. Captain Lisa Harper entered the room. Her uniform was wrinkled and she looked tired. She had just returned from a mission to the Outer Rim colonies. The look in her eyes told Jake that she had bad news. Ambassador, Lisa said, we need to talk. What I found out there changes everything. Jake poured 2 cups of coffee from the machine on his desk. It was real Earth coffee, one of the few luxuries humans were allowed to trade freely. Tell me, he said. Lisa sat down and pulled out her own tablet. The Zephyrians have been lying to us. Those raids on our colonies that they said were done by pirates? It was them. They have been taking our people. She showed him video files on her tablet. Jake watched in horror as Zephyrian soldiers attacked human settlements. Children were torn away from their parents. Adults were put in chains and loaded onto transport ships. Entire families disappeared while the aliens took everything valuable from their homes. How many? Jake asked, his voice quiet. At least 30,000 people missing from the Outer Rim alone, Lisa said. They are being used as slave workers in asteroid mines. The conditions are terrible. Many of them are dying. Jake felt sick. He had spent years trying to work with the Zephyrians, believing they were allies. He had trusted them when they said they wanted to help humanity grow and learn. Now he saw the truth. Humans were not partners. They were resources to be harvested. There is more, Lisa continued. She showed him another file. I found communication records. The Zephyrians and their allies have been planning this for years. They never intended to give us real membership in the Council. The Protection Accords were designed to keep us weak while they used us. Jake read the alien text with the help of his translation software. The words made him angry. The aliens wrote about humans like they were animals. They talked about managing human population growth. They discussed which colonies would be best for resource extraction. They planned which human technologies to steal and which ones to suppress. Dr. Williams needs to see this, Jake said. Kate Williams was the best alien expert they had. If anyone could understand the full scope of what was happening, it would be her. Lisa nodded. I already sent her copies. She is working on analysis now. But Jake, there is something else you need to know. I got a message from Admiral Johnson before I came here. Admiral Steve Johnson commanded Earth's defense fleet. He was a good man and a careful leader. If he was sending secret messages, it meant something big was happening. What did he say? Jake asked. Operation Breakwater is approved. The President has authorized full military preparation. Whatever you decide to do tomorrow, Earth will back you up. Jake understood what that meant. For 5 years, Earth had been secretly building ships and weapons. They had been developing new technologies without telling the Council. The aliens thought humans were weak and dependent. They were about to learn how wrong they were. A soft chime from his communication system interrupted them. "Ambassador Morrison," came the voice of his aide, Alex Chen. "Dr. Williams is here to see you. She says it's urgent." "Send her in," Jake replied. Kate Williams entered the room carrying a large case full of data tablets and analysis equipment. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and a mind that could solve problems faster than most computers. She looked excited and angry at the same time. "Jake, what Lisa found confirms everything I suspected," Kate said without waiting for greetings. "The Council has been deliberately keeping us from advancing. Every technology request we have made has been delayed or denied. Medical treatments that could save lives, farming techniques that could feed millions, defensive systems that could protect our colonies. All of it has been classified as too dangerous for humans to have." She activated one of her tablets and showed them charts and graphs. "I compared our technological development to other species when they were at our level. We should be centuries ahead of where we are now. The Council has been stealing our innovations and giving us outdated equipment in return." Jake felt his anger growing. "How long have you known?" "I have suspected for months, but I needed proof," Kate said. "Lisa's data gives me that proof. The Council never intended to treat us as equals. We are their favorite pet species, smart enough to be useful but kept weak enough to control." The three humans sat in silence for a moment. Outside the window, the alien city continued its strange dance of lights and sounds. Tomorrow, Jake would stand before the most powerful beings in the galaxy and ask for humanity's freedom. Now he knew they would never give it willingly. "What do you recommend?" Jake asked. Lisa spoke first. "We expose them. Show the Council what the Zephyrians have been doing. Make them face the truth," Kate nodded. "And we show them what we have built while they were not watching. Humanity is not the weak species they think we are." Jake looked at his tablet again. The messages from Earth were still coming in. Millions of humans across the galaxy were counting on him. Their freedom, their future, their very lives depended on what happened in the Council chambers tomorrow. He made his decision. "Get me a secure channel to Admiral Johnson," Jake said. "It's time to show the galaxy who we really are." As the alien city lights flickered in the darkness outside, Jake Morrison prepared for the most important day in human history. Tomorrow he would either secure humanity's place among the stars, or he would start a war that would change the galaxy forever. The peace was about to end.